It's Edge Radio Australia. Great to be here in front of a million, thousand, trillion people. I've just made that figure up completely off the top of my head because I have no idea. That's the reality of it, Terry.
You're putting it out there.
I am. I really am. In fact, I'm inventing numbers. Okay, I don't actually think that's a sequence that works, but I don't care. I was pretty happy with it. I'm really quite excited about the show today because I've done something naughty.
Oh,
yeah. I have walked in
tell.
here. I've walked in here, Terry, and I haven't even looked at the questions yet. And I love that. I love being a bit naughty. I love walking in and just going with the flow of things. So
you don't know that somebody asked you the question about your darkest fear and your worst nightmare?
Oh, no. Okay. I better grab the notes and have a bit of a go. There we go. Hey, welcome, of course, to the Genius Zone. It's Aaron Malloy with you and, of course, Terry Messenger. Don't shoot her because she is the messenger. Tell you, it's a great message. So, be happy about that.
My sister said that yesterday. Don't shoot the messenger.
It's such an old saying. I love it. It's a good one. I'm happy with that.
Yeah.
Now, Terry, we're going to jump into the show. Do you have any specific now? Today, have we got a topic or are we just going to get into the questions? What are we up to?
Yeah, no, we definitely got a topic,
okay.
Aaron.
Again, I read the notes. Okay.
Yeah, okay. So what is it? It's the story of Aaron's life. No, I'm joking. So, no, it's confidence, courage, and conviction,
really?
And showing up boldly in life. I guess I created this because this is something that I set up until midnight last night, creating PowerPoints and scripts.
Genuine prep. What's going on there?
Yeah. So I am a creator of NLP and all that.
I like to tease you about these things. I know that you're
not organised, so you're absolutely dead on.
I thought you were.
On.
Right. Yeah. You fake it well. I'm impressed.
Thank you. What do you say? Make it, fake it till you make it.
Fake it till you make it. Yeah, that's the old one.
Yeah. So anyways, I went ahead and sat up and I actually enjoyed it.
Mm.
I'm not usually one of these people that likes doing all that behind the scenes stuff because sometimes, right, I can just simply create the scripts and then get my VA to do it.
Oh, right.
And,
she's lucky you. Hello, got a VA.
Yeah, and she's amazing. So, she's following you like a hawk.
Oh, yeah.
So maybe she wants to be your VA.
hey, I need one, let's face it. I just, I'm VA now. There are so many people right now who are really recommending VAs. It seems to be the new style of things.
Oh, online, definitely.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it might be worth hooking you guys up because
if you could.
She's amazing and she brands and everything really well and she does the reels and stories. But anyway, we're not here to talk about that.
No,
but it is relevant in a way because I kind of created this for people. You don't have to be necessarily someone that goes on stage and presents or a coach, healer, leader or a radio announcer like yourself or a musician, disco dancer, whatever.
Disco dancers. We get a lot of those.
You don't have to be that to watch this show.
No.
I believe every single person, including my mum, because I picked her brains about this before I came out. So
say hi to your mum for me.
Yeah, I will. Yep, she'll be watching. So, I believe everybody needs and wants confidence.
Oh, couldn't agree with you more.
And
Absolutely.
we did touch on this. And, the thing is, Aaron, what is confidence?
Well, we should ask Melissa. She's there saying hello. So hello, Melissa. Thank you for being on board. What is confidence? Confidence is something, it's so hard to define, isn't it, really? I mean, a lot of people link it with ego. Ego is a big part of it in a lot of ways, but people then look at ego in a negative way.
Yeah.
I know you need a little bit of column A, a little column B on this one.
Yeah. I think confidence is very subjective, and if a person's confident, it doesn't mean to say they're confident in everything.
No. You might have a field of genius. Yeah. Maybe.
So, you could be really confident on the radio and then someone puts you on the hot seat to, do all the administration and you might suddenly lose your confidence really quick.
I start rocking back and forward, sucking my thumb. What are you talking about? I hate paperwork. I'll do everything possible to avoid it. So I'm totally with you on that one.
Yeah. So, I think I touched on this in the last show, but confidence is something that I don't believe is necessarily in our DNA.
Okay.
Because it's very
strange, but okay.
I mean, certainty can be, courage can be, and even purpose, passion and conviction. I think there's a lineage happening there.
Okay.
But where confidence is something more subjective.
Right.
So, like I said, you might be confident on radio, and then you might get into another situation that roller skating or ice skating. I mean, you could be world class for all I know, but you know what I mean? You may not be so confident, right?
Look, hang on that note, back in the day, with the wide for sound kind of,
you
period.
did it as well?
I roller skated. Yeah, of course I did. Of course I did. I could even speed skate back then.
Whoa.
But having said that, right, talk about confidence and where you've got it and you haven't got it. I got on ice skates once, and I fell down so many times. Look, more than Joe Biden does on the average week. That's how often I fell down a lot. Okay, it was just full on. So I had no confidence about that.
I'm picturing this. So you mean to say you could maneuver around really well on four wheels?
Yeah.
But when it came to the ice skates,
No
the blades, you couldn't do it?
Terrible.
Probably mind over matter. Probably mind over matter. Do you know? My ex might watch this, but he will tell you the story that we met and I was in a red bikini on roller skates.
Of course you were.
I was only very young. I mean, I was barely 15. But in his mind, I was circling around him.
Right.
You know?
That is manifesting right there, right? He's going, I need a hot chick in a bikini right now. Let's bring it on.
And it's like, back in them days, I was out the front of my own house. It was it's nothing to do things like that. And he reckons it was hair check. Shirt
really?
check, this check. I mean, he said that at one of my birthday parties. But anyway, roller skates, yes. If you ain't no can opener, you can knock on wood. That was one of the sayings. So anyway, yes. So confidence is something very subjective. However, with confidence, sometimes when if you are in a position where you need to show up and you need to be on radio, and perhaps you're not so confident on radio like Aaron is, or you need to get on stage. Now, what do you reckon? And they reckon public speaking is one of the biggest fears for people.
Well, I've got a theory on this, okay? And here's my theory. I've been doing it all my life, okay? So I'm unbelievably comfortable. Having said that, I have a little theory about the fact that when I first walk up, and it doesn't matter if the crowd is, 10 people or 100,000, right? When I walk out there, I need to have in the first sentence a little tiny quiver in my voice. I need to have that little bit of fear because that means it means something. And I've actually had a couple of occasions in my life where I've gone up to do live performances and I go and then I just go and I'm on full on autopilot and I think to myself, oh, this isn't good. Because it means less. I like the quiver. I like the little tiny shake of the leg as you go out there.
Yeah,
right?
well, you would know about that. You would have a lot of mentoring and training in
absolutely.
radio and, I mean, you're not even sitting how you usually sit. What's going on, Aaron? I mean, my mum's going to notice this. You do know that, right?
What I'm doing is I'm hiding behind the laptop, you see. Yeah, that's what I'm doing. Right?
You're not having the radio stance.
No.
But see, all this is relevant because that could be an anchor or something you've learnt that actually gives you the confidence. And I remember doing a Chris Howard seminar, and I don't know whether you've ever heard of Chris Howard.
Oh, you've mentioned before.
But he's quite a dynamic man. Right. And we were sitting in this big auditorium, and he was getting us to project our vision for who we want to be. Okay. And, this is really great for those who perhaps want to project for 2025 because of course that's just around the corner.
So close.
So imagine yourself, and this is what he did. He said, see yourself out there and put a big golden light like you're on a stage.
Okay.
And how do you look? And how do you feel? And what are you doing? And who's around you? Now, as he gets you into this state, he then says, right, anchor. Okay. So what he does is he tells the audience to find an anchor, but this is a stage anchor. All so what happens is you do something radical. It's not just like I usually get my people to sort of go like this, or maybe just tap themselves on the knee, or if they're, actually talking with someone else, they might just casually tap them on the elbow, something that's non-threatening, but, every time they say something good and then it kind of like anchors them.
Okay. I was going to say define radical. I mean, do we start doing star jumps? I don't know.
Yeah, why
okay.
not? I mean, if
Okay.
if I was game, I'd get up and show you, maybe one
demonstration
day.
right
But
here. Yeah.
so mine, for example, because we had to stand up and we're in this big tiered kind of theatre
Mhm.
auditorium. So for me, it was, I need a lot of room, but it was like a bang, bang, bang.
Really?
Oh yeah, but you're standing up and doing it.
Okay.
And I can absolutely know solidly that when I do that stance,
Mhm.
doesn't matter what state I'm in,
Right.
it doesn't matter how anxious I may be.
It doesn't?
No.
No?
It doesn't matter how anxious, how sad, or
Mhm.
how happy I am. When I do that,
Mhm.
it sets off this anchor that gives me that confidence.
Okay.
I'm on stage.
That's what I meant. Yeah, so that's your little,
Radical.
that's your ticket. Yeah, it is radical. That's not a little tap on the shoe, that's
No.
for sure.
No.
There you go.
No.
That's
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah.
It really is, because people, it's very interesting. People talk about confidence, they talk about nerves and all that sort of thing, and I think it's important that everybody kind of realizes that we all get it. We do all get some form of nerves.
Yeah.
It's how you turn it. Okay, it's how you twist it. It's how you generate power out of it, I guess.
Absolutely. And NLP, that is the 101.
Okay.
So they even say, like I was talking to you about doing a workshop here.
Yep.
And
I'm looking
even
forward to
getting
that.
getting people into a certification. Do you know, according to the Australian Business Neurolinguistic Programming Association,
It's quite a mouthful.
I reckon, the only thing your trainees need to know how to do is to anchor a state. So it's really your position. Say like someone's coming in and they want to learn NLP.
Yep.
So at the baseline, level, if you cannot change someone's state,
Mhm.
then you fail, basically. So I should say it in a more positive way. But when you learn how to change someone's state, and I mean, that can't be a bad thing, right?
No, not at all. No way in the world.
I mean, whether you're on the phone to them, if you're in real life, it's easier because you can kind of do a little bit of tapping, which is very unthreatening.
Okay.
But it's the anchoring business that we can set up so that we've got that anchor of confidence. Like for all you know, that stance you've got with your leg over, the
Go get your leg over. Come on.
That could be an anchor for you.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh,
it could be.
Okay. I thought it was actually just a way of clearing up the problems that we have on another show that we do here. See, during the Greater Wealth, Mr. Cartier sits next to me and he makes conference. Oh, sorry.
Mr. Cartier. That sounds very posh.
Mr. Cartier. The shaved monkey. When the shaved monkey's sitting next to me, he makes references to the fact that the camera's looking at my pants. So that's what I've done, you see. So this is my way of anchoring.
Yeah.
Okay. Can you see what I'm doing there?
So Mr. Cartier, I remember that.
You remember that?
Vinnie
Okay.
Barbarino.
Absolutely.
Vinnie Barbarino. So, I mean, that was an anchor.
Mm.
And I mean,
there you
look at the Fonz. I mean, now I'm showing my age, but he'd go into the mirror, hey, and obviously that kind of spoke them off, and that would really set the scene and probably put them into that state.
I like that a lot. I mean, you think about things that, well, I guess we just do it in a very involuntary way, don't we?
Yeah. Do you remember Arnold Horshack?
Yeah. I remember Horshack.
Now we're really,
I mean,
all these things like his laugh.
Yep.
That
was
would,
classic.
even sound. So people don't have to be anchored just physically.
Right.
You can anchor yourself by sound. So you might say a word. So you might set a intention. So here's mine. Do you want to hear my kind of vision? It's very short and sharp and sweet.
Okay.
2025. Mm-hmm. I decree and declare that it is going to be the year of miracles.
Well, okay. Big call. Big call.
It is a big call, but usually it's like it's going to be the year of success or the year of wealth and the year. But next year is going to be the year of miracles.
Okay, so you're putting the power out to others there because miracles, kind of come to you, don't they?
Absolutely. But if you say it and then you set an intention, then you're kind of like, you're really making that
you're inviting
strong anchor, like the one that I decided when I was first doing NLP, and I decided that I was going to have the most perfectly imperfect life
Right.
with the fact that my marriage had broken down.
Yep.
My kids and everything was kind of like in disarray. So I made a statement, I will not drag them through the mud,
Mhm.
and I will have a perfectly imperfect and dignified divorce.
Okay. And you know what? That's an incredibly wonderful way of looking at it, because look, if things didn't end badly, they wouldn't end at all. Okay. Right.
True that.
So when divorces come along, as an example here, you can make the best of it here. You can go, okay, this is the end of a time, it's the end of a chapter, but I'm going to cause as little harm to those involved as I possibly can.
Yes.
And that's a very positive way of going about it. And most people don't. Most
Mhm.
people think, I'm going to burn the place on the way out. That's what they
That's
do.
the human side of
Mhm.
things. If we operate in ego, if we operate in our humanity, but that's going to lead me to more stuff
Of course it
about
is.
confidence, courage, and
Yep.
conviction. Because as we go through these questions today,
Right?
some of them are repeat people. So they've come back on the show.
I did
They
think I'd
obviously
recognise
like
the
us,
name.
Aaron.
This is very nice. Thank you very much for liking
Yes,
us.
yes, yes. So,
I
I
did notice
I
that.
mean, we can go straight into the questions if
Let's
you
do it.
like.
Yeah, why not? Why not? Okay, shall we go? Let's speak to Natalie in Perth now. I believe we've spoken to Natalie before, so thank you very much for coming back. Love that. Hey, Aaron and Terry, I watch your show every week and I really enjoy your episodes. Thank you. I think we enjoy putting them out there. My question is, without bragging, I know I am a gifted coach, helping women rediscover their passion and purpose after having children. I've got the qualifications, the counselling skills and certificates, but I lack the confidence to show up consistently. When I do show up, I feel like I am holding back through fear and of being judged. This is causing me to struggle to connect with my ideal students. What tips or tricks would you both suggest to help me find my voice and show up with confidence? Okay.
That's a big one.
I know. Look,
It is
a lot to read.
Yeah,
Right.
it is a big one because, I had an experience. I mean, if I was only you, Natalie, if I could turn back the clock
Mhm.
and go back to when my kids were young, because I was one of these people that unfortunately lost my identity when I had after I'd had my third child,
Right.
and I went through one of the dark night of the soul. And it wasn't good. You sort of, who am I? And, all of a sudden, because motherhood came naturally to me.
Okay,
So
good.
I could do that with absolute ease and effortlessness.
Are you saying the third kid was a trouble kid?
Let's not say that, but let's just say that two is company. Once
Yeah.
you have three,
Oh, yeah.
it's like you've got a massive crowd, but
Yeah.
she's my gift.
Oh,
She
no
is-
doubt about it.
She is absolutely my gift. But, it was one of those elements where that happened. So if you're helping women after children, I dare say, Natalie, did you have a similar experience to me? Did you feel that you wanted to find your purpose once you had your kids? Because that's a really big thing. So as far as what you say, obviously you're qualified, you've got a great gift, and that's fantastic.
Absolutely is.
And, the fact is that, the truth be known, every coach that I know that is really a passionate coach, what happens is that quite often they're not all about selling, marketing, and pushing themselves out there. What they're about is about their passion and their purpose. But you know what? This is the thing, Natalie. We have to get out of the way of ourselves.
So true. That is a big thing. A lot of us have got something in our past which is holding us back, right? Bringing it forward and dealing with it will probably release a lot of that, I would tend to suggest.
Yep.
Look, I'm looking at everything that Natalie's got to say. And Natalie, I don't even know you, like personally. I'd love to chat. But I see no reason in the world why you shouldn't be confident about what you're doing. You've got everything going for you here. It looks fantastic.
It's usually in front of the camera.
Yeah. Okay.
It's usually like this.
Yep.
And what I say to people is, unless you create something, because this mission you've got, Natalie, is bigger than you. It's bigger than your fears.
So glad you've said that.
Yeah, it's so much more than just little old you. And that's no offense, right?
No, I get that completely.
Yeah.
Look, I think sometimes you're talking about confidence and ego, right? Now, your ego can make it all about you. That's the worst thing you can do, right? You've got to look at the big picture, and you've got to look which piece of Lego you happen to be, right?
Do you reckon the fireys get to the place where the place is burning down and there's a child and a mother inside, and they go, "Oh, I'm too shy to go in there. I think, no." What happens to them? They come out. They come out. They go into action. They expand out of themselves. It's not about them anymore. Natalie, I have to tell you, girlfriend, it's not about you. It's about the people that you are serving. Now, believe it or not, that's a perceptual shift.
Okay.
So because this is what NLP is all about. It's about getting people to think in a different way. So rather than being locked into, everyone's going to look at me and, oh my God, what if they judge me or whatever, you've got to move to the third part of this title, conviction.
Okay.
What's your conviction, Aaron? Freedom of speech, right?
Oh, look, it's just not negotiable as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah. So that freedom of speech is not going to have you shrinking back. Like if you had to speak up for, the man that's battling, or you were making a stand for what you believe, I can't see you shrinking down. And,
no, in fact, it makes me stand up taller, to be honest with you.
Exactly.
Yeah. And it's a great point, though. Really, really good point, because when it's for others, you feel like you can stand right up. You do, don't you?
Yes, it's easier.
It is
easier. It's easier to advocate. It's easier to be really certain, confident.
Yep.
And I don't know, there's something that is very magical about just getting out of the way of yourself and, just bringing your conviction. And really that's the courage.
Oh, completely agree. They're really good points. I think, Natalie, honestly, it's just really look inside yourself and go, okay, who am I doing this for? And if you really truly believe in the people you're helping, and I absolutely know you do, the way you've written this, it tells me very clearly you do, then that fear and that apprehension can melt away, because it's not about you. It's a bigger purpose. It's a higher purpose.
Yes. There is one little thing. So sometimes, look, I always say to people, don't do something that doesn't align with you.
Yeah, okay.
If it doesn't align, just know that that's your spirit. That's your inner radar telling you it's not right.
Yeah, okay.
And, to follow that path that is more expansive. So, for example, if you don't feel confident showing up live stream, like we're on live stream right now, right? Now, that could be nerve-wracking because, anything could happen. Mr. Cartier could drop out of the rooftop right here and, you don't know what's going to happen live.
Now you're talking about my greatest fears.
So, my thoughts, and I do say this, and a lot of the influencers do this. I know Cody Sanchez and, some of the greats, they do this. They set aside one day a week.
Right.
And what they do is they get themselves all tizzied up, go and get their hair done, so they're feeling good, because women always feel more confident if they look good.
The Cortez, is she the business broking one?
Gosh, she's the woman that buys laundry mats.
She's amazing.
Man,
I tell you what.
Yeah. Almost like Layla Harmozy.
Oh, she's
Alex
so
Harmozy's
good. I don't know where
wife.
she came from. She's popped out of nowhere for me anyway. Sort of on.
Maybe I liked her, and the algorithms jumped into your lap.
Yeah, danced away. But yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
And just everything she says, I think, wow, you're on it. Really are. Great common sense advice.
Buy a boring business. That's what Cody Sanchez says.
So
humdrum. So maybe, so anyway, what these influencers do is they get themselves really prepared. And it's like that day of the week, that's not negotiable. This is not negotiable. It's like this show, unless, we have a blackout or something like that, or Christmas, because it's Christmas next Wednesday,
week.
Right? I will be here. That's what and you've got to choose a non-negotiable. Now, here's the little secret.
That's called commitment. What's going on there? Jeez,
dedication.
You don't do that anymore.
Commitment. And maybe a little bit of conviction in there as well.
Just
an alignment, a lot of an alignment, and massive aligned action. Okay, get yourself dressed for success.
Right.
Just like the song, get your hair how you want it to be,
Okay.
get yourself really ready and have your content. So you've got a few really cool notes, and make maybe 5 short videos
Okay.
by yourself, because that way, if you don't like it, you can always go back and start again. So what these influencers do is they go and change their top, and then they
Right.
might throw their hair up in a
I
bun
do it all the
to
time.
make, of course,
Of course.
you know, to make it look like it's a different day.
Yep.
But it gives them more flow. They're in the
Right.
zone,
Yeah, okay.
and they've got their topics laid out. So they roll them out.
Mhm.
So they're probably their virtual assistants, roll them out for them.
Okay.
And it looks like they're showing up every day of the week, but actually they were on the beach.
Yeah, yeah. This is
They're
going hard
sipping
one day and the rest
margaritas.
of the time.
Yeah. that's what-
Margaritos. I don't know
Yeah.
what they are. That sounds like a corn chip and a drink mixed in one, but there you go. Margaritas, perhaps. Well, okay, we'll go with that.
Margaritas, there we go.
I couldn't miss
we
the
can
opportunity.
start singing and dancing to that.
Yeah, I'll tell
So
you what.
yeah, that's what they do. So perhaps give it a whirl. Give it a whirl, and perhaps get someone who will even go live with you, because sometimes that does give a little bit
So
of Dutch
good.
courage.
It certainly does. No, all really good advice. And, jumping out there. Also something that people do wrong, and I hate using the term wrong in this sort of circumstance, but I will anyway, is this. People go and they start recording something in the social media world, or if it's a broadcasting, well, whatever, for your business. And they go, I slipped on a word, or I made a little mistake here. So they stop and then they start again, right?
Oh,
Don't do it.
yes.
You know what?
Yeah, keep
If you-
going.
Yeah, keep going. If you fall over a little bit, you make a little mistake, whatever, keep going. People like the fact that it is genuine, all right? It's authentic.
Mm.
When it's so polished, for all of these years, we've been watching the media polish and polish and polish and polish and polish. And what are you doing when you're polishing, and what are you hiding the marks, right?
Yeah.
So little less polish, and that's something we very much strive for
Exactly.
here, being authentic.
That's why I became a hypnotherapist.
Is that right?
Did you know it's the most messiest
Right.
form of ambiguous language, where you can make as
Okay.
many mistakes as you want,
Mhm.
and that's part of the charm.
I like that.
Yeah.
Gee, I might have to learn
but
myself.
that's a whole different training on that. That's a whole day
Whole
of training.
other day?
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
well, let's jump into our next
Mm.
question, shall we? Now, this is from all the way from the US. This is Bridget, and I believe Bridget's also contacted us before.
Yes.
Thank you, Bridget. Lovely.
She's asleep.
Oh, well, you'll be seeing this, I'm sure, sometime
She
in the
will.
future. We should be naughty and not mention the fact that it's almost Christmas and almost 2025, because let's face it, people will be watching this in about 2 years going, what are those like?
So
Oh, geez.
irrelevant.
Yeah.
I know.
No,
It makes it old.
But
True.
it's not old. Let's face it. This is great to have these conversations. So, hi guys. I will not be on for the live show as I'm in the US, and we'll be sleeping, as you've just said. Fantastic there. I would love to know how confidence, courage, and conviction can help me push through financial struggles and health challenges, so I can stay focused and keep moving forward towards my dreams.
Stop focusing on the money.
Yep.
Stop focusing on the struggle itself, and begin, I believe, if you're talking about people in the online space, because it's so uncertain, people sort of jump in and they go, what's my strategy? Do I build a funnel? Do I don't mean to get all, technical about this, but, do I do a major launch? And then how do I do all the processes, the email sequences, the reels, the stories? Don't mean to put you to sleep or anything, Aaron, but, that way I can hypnotize you at least. But, the fact is that, the strategy is the big thing for a lot of people. And I would say Bridget is the same.
Right.
And what you've got to know is that every single thing you create with or without a client gives you the compound effect.
Okay.
So a bit like if you put $1 in your pocket every single week and then put it into the bank, slowly, how much money would you have by the time you were, 95?
Shall I do the math?
Wow, just so it is compound effect.
Yeah.
So if I can share a little bit on this, because I believe this is relevant to you, Bridget. And that is that you're talking about health issues as well. Now, I'm not sure whether you mean for yourself or someone dear to you, but I've got a funny feeling that it's a bit like my situation. It's someone close to you. So really what you've got to do is you've got to stop focusing on the struggle of money and on the struggle of that. And you've got to create a process where you're not focusing on success and you're not focusing on how many people are watching you and you're not focusing on how much money you're bringing in right at this moment. Right. Because, it is a well-documented fact that consistency is queen and content is king. That's what I say in the coaching world.
Yep.
So if you can consistently make content and you can consistently show up, and even though you may feel like sometimes it's falling on deaf ears, make content, create it, because you know what? I made a lot of meditations and I actually created the whole NLP training online without anybody in front of me. So I did the training and I did it through Audacity and I just did it on a kind of a computer thingy, and that goes a long way with people, training them because it gives them the step by step.
Right.
Now, back then, it might have been worth, I don't know, it might have been worth $100 to me at that time for all the work that I'd done. But 16 years later, how much exactly? Yeah. So what you're doing is you are setting yourself up for your future. So you can't expect instant overnight success. And if you are focusing on it and then you're not getting the views, you're not getting the people, that is going to put you into that position where you're going to become in that state of lack.
Yeah. And
because you're going to be in that state of lack, you're going to focus on that lack and that lack's going to come for you. Whereas, instead of inviting lack into your life, what you've got to do is you've got to see your future and know that this is what you are committed to doing. And look, as far as the health, and I dare say I feel like it's the health of your, dearly beloved, you have to come to terms that it's their journey.
Okay.
So sometimes that's easier said than done. Talk to yourself, Terry, because, really sometimes you've got to let go and let live. In fact, Cody Sanchez got really deep.
Really?
And she said, because she's usually all about the business, but she was sitting in the back of a car probably getting chauffeured by a Mercedes-Benz. And she was saying, when we are trying to make something else happen in our lives and we're not coming into the full acceptance of what is here, what we're saying is, God, you don't exist, and you are throwing your faith out the window. So you've just got to trust that these things will pass, and you've got to sow your seeds, know that there's a compound effect, and create your epic content. And if you keep on keeping on, you will reach. And when it happens, usually when people manifest, they don't expect it.
Okay.
So they actually don't expect it. And one of my mentors, this was very interesting, but she went from having about $9.70 in her bank account, and she was really destitute. And
what are you talking about? I was going to hit her up for a loan. Come on, jeez.
She was sleeping on her best friend's couch, and now she's a multi-millionaire.
Good on her.
And she travels the world. And when the question was asked, how did it feel when you went from $9.70 to perhaps $10 million? How did that feel? Do you know what her lackluster response was, Aaron?
No idea.
Normal.
Yep. Yeah.
It's not like, oh, I'm rich.
Well, you've worked so hard and it doesn't happen in a moment for a start. And if your mindset's right, away you go. I love that. Something I actually want to throw forward for Bridget is this. Look, I'm a massive believer in build it and they will come, okay? So if you focus on the money and all that sort of thing, you're really doing yourself a disservice. Focus on the product. Focus on the quality and the integrity of what you're putting
Yeah.
out, and quantity, and be reliable and consistent about it, and keep going. Now, I'm going to throw some figures out here, which I don't normally do this sort of thing, but I'm going to throw a couple
Let's
of
go.
Okay. So in the online space, just so you know, as far as there's many different ways you can go about it. If you're after a short-term sort of success, a lot of people do that. They'll just try and punch through, say, just through, look, one social media thing, one app or YouTube or whatever, and you go look at, they've got lots and lots and lots of listeners. It's deceiving, or viewers for that matter. It's very deceiving, because in many different ways, people even buy viewers for a start, fake numbers, all sorts of lot goes on, right?
Yes.
But if you want to truly build something that's got legs, that will last and will
I like that, legs. I would have thought you would have said wheels, but legs is
there
fine.
You go. Occasionally I'll walk. But I like something that's really going to last and have that that longevity is this. If you do like we do here at Edge, okay, we work very much like a spider web, okay, pretty much the way we distribute our product. Now that means that we're not particularly strong here, not particularly strong there, whatever. We're just kind of everywhere, right? Really, really good.
But can I just say something on that? You guys do have a strong core, because the strong core is where those spider webs come out.
Oh, no doubt about it.
And you do like what I do on the podcast. It's not about anything specific, but it's offering so much. So you're reaching such a huge audience.
It's a wonderful thing.
I had to say that.
I appreciate that very much. Well, I just want to give Bridget a little bit of hope, if you like. Okay, so sometimes these numbers that you see will not actually tell you the truth. You need to go actually backstage, so to speak, and have a bit of a look at what your numbers are actually doing. And I'll give you an example. There was a show here on Edge that went on its first week. I had a bit of a look, and I thought, oh, look, it didn't do as well as I would have expected. I thought it was going to do better. And I had a look on YouTube, and we had 9 views on YouTube. It's like, oh, gee, that's a bit concerning, right? Because we need to get
normal.
Yep, it's unbelievably normal. Now, 4 days later, I went and did the check up on it, and hang on, things are going well. Not on YouTube, checking the back channels and how the sort of amalgamating the numbers. And a week later, I went and had a look. Okay, and guess what the numbers were actually of the spider web for the show that had 9 viewers earlier.
What was it?
150,000 people had watched that video. Okay, right. So you need to understand the formats that you're using. You need to also understand very much your demographics and who you wish to reach and what your business is about. And if your business is about just making money, then you know what, pump it all towards YouTube and away you go. And guess what, you make more money. But if you actually want to make change, and if you actually want to have effect in people's lives and build a successful business, but money not being the priority, I think the spider web is the better way to do it. I really do, because it hits a lot more people that way.
Yeah, absolutely. That is absolutely fabulous. And just stay with it.
Stay with it.
Do not lose your vision. Do not give up, because I want to remind everyone of the story about 7 Levels Deep. Did you read that story in Napoleon Hill's book?
No, I haven't.
About the man who was very rich, very, very wealthy, and he used to, go for gold.
Right.
So he would use his machinery and go down, for gold, and he would find it, and he was very, very rich.
Okay.
But one day he was absolutely fed up, and he'd been looking for this gold for so long, and he just left his machinery and he took off and he left it there. Now a rag man, so they called him in the book, came along, and he knew this guy's history, and he said, well, this guy's got a pretty good history.
Yep.
He's been searching for gold here, and he went down 7 feet and bam, found the gold and became an overnight millionaire.
Not bad at all. Not bad at all.
So don't give up, girlfriend.
No, fantastic. Great to see Cara with some fantastic comments coming through as well. Yes, understanding your target market and knowing your audience is it really is. Because in the social media world and the broadcasting thing that we're all involved, people get so obsessed with numbers, obviously, because we're trying to reach as many people as possible. But if you become obsessed with numbers based on dollars and cents, it is not, in my opinion anyway, it's not the way to build a long-term.
It's distracting.
Yeah, you don't. I mean, look, we're here to make a change, okay? We're here to change the world. That's what Edge is about, right?
Yeah.
So if we just went, oh, look, let's just go for the next buck. Let's go for the next buck, all right? Then quite frankly, we'd be very short-sighted. We wouldn't be looking at that destination of achieving, real change, giving people free speech, giving the everyday person a voice, right? If we just went for the short-term buck, we'd lose sight of that very quickly, and I think that'd be a very negative thing for what we're doing. And I think you lose your integrity of who you are.
I absolutely agree
So
with that.
yeah, I think that is a great comment there from Cara. I mean, really do look, know your target market. It's incredibly important, and target market's a really interesting thing. Forget about business for a moment. I just think about life. What's your target market, right? If you're looking for a wife, you're looking for a husband, you're looking for this, you're looking for that. Know your target market.
So do you suggest actually writing a list?
No, definitely
Because
not.
I know people who do that.
I know.
And you know how all this online stuff is really popular.
Yeah.
And then, I've said to girlfriends, for crying down the kitchen sink, do not interview the poor guy.
Oh, I've had the interview. I've had the interview, right? And I can't believe the girl wanted to date me again after the interview, but there you go. But because I was pulling the piss, I'm not going to lie. I mean, she had all these questions for me. She had a piece of paper with questions like they're all numbered. Like, what's going on here?
Yeah.
And I just couldn't believe this. So I was saying,
they have a radio show in America.
Yeah.
And, I can't remember the names of the guys that do this, but it's the second date
update. I love it.
It's the second date. So they always, they get the person who went on a date and then they call the other person and say, well, why didn't you follow up on the second date with, with Rebecca?
Yep.
Because she really liked you and everything else. And then one guy, he said, well, for starters, we sat there in the restaurant and she asked for water from the bottle that had no ice and it was going to be charged at, water out of the tap, but she wanted it fresh from obviously a mineral watering machine.
Right.
Then she said that she wanted absolutely nothing that swims. And apparently, so this poor guy, he said she was so pedantic. Can you imagine what she would have been like?
Man.
But I love that.
It's good. Yeah,
TikTok
look that up. It is an absolute
rip
rip-off there. Yeah. We're actually going to bring some stuff to Edge next year, which is going to be a lot of fun too. So we're going to bring the Jerry Sprinkler show. That's going to be fun. The Jerry Sprinkler show next year.
I hope you're including me in that.
Yeah. Oh, you want to be part of it. Yeah.
Jerry.
We're going to get people to actually email in and ring in and maybe even do the old, computer thing in.
Yeah.
Zoom in or whatever, where we're actually going to be able to do something like that. Just interactive stuff, lots of fun. And mainly, look, it'll be about your dark secrets so you can do it anonymously if you like. But at the same time, let's have some fun with it, right? Okay? Because it's time in life we had a bit of fun again, right?
Absolutely.
Interactive stuff.
Are we going to give cars away?
Maybe
you
like
never
Matchbox.
Toy cars.
20 odd years ago, I gave away a Subaru WRX STI. I gave it away on air. I did. I gave the big long spiel of how fantastic it was. Boom, 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 boom. And then I stuck in 128 scale because it was this big.
You tricked
It was about
them.
20 centimeters long. But hey, it was a winner.
Gosh.
Yeah,
That's good.
We had a lot of fun. And you know what? Actually, on that front,
Yeah.
the person who won it was really fantastic because we gave them an experience of a lifetime because they came and they got their prize and there was all sorts of goodies. It wasn't just the car, it was all sorts of stuff. But that person who was a rally fanatic got to meet Petter Solberg and myself, the winner, and Petter had the most amazing conversation, had lots and lots of fun. We just had so much enjoyment together, right? It was just a great thing. And people talk about money and great, things you can do with money. That's an experience. An experience is worth so much. And this guy, his life was made, he didn't care about all this other stuff. He just met, he met Petter Solberg, who you don't even know who he is, but there you go.
But that is good.
World
That
champion.
could have been, absolute priceless.
Yeah, it was. For him, he was just absolutely wrapped. So
yeah,
it was a fantastic experience all around. So I'm sorry, I'm seeing all these things coming through. I better get back to the questions because we're getting distracted. We're
Let's
a bit naughty.
do that.
All right.
Yeah.
Now, all the way from Melbourne, it is Dorothy. Thank you very much, Dorothy, for getting in touch. Okay. I am a mature, older Christian lady, and I want to speak up and speak out with confidence to share my message to the world. But I also need help at becoming more assertive. How do I gain the strength to say what I need to say to the people I need to say it to? Ooh, I like it.
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
Dorothy's got some vigor.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
So, what do you do to really? This is the same as what we're on in this topic, speaking your truth. But if you're a little bit like myself, sometimes you don't want to speak out and you don't want to tell someone the truth of how you're feeling because you don't want to offend them.
Yeah.
And then, you don't want to offend them, so you tiptoe around them, but then you're not being completely honest and you're not being transparent to let them know who you are.
True.
You know,
Absolutely.
so when you say, this is the way it is, it's a bit like what we were talking about with advocating and being able to sort of get out of the way of ourselves and really make a point. It's always easier when it's not about us.
Yep.
And so what you've got to do is you've got to kind of be able to step out and objectively look at it. Now, if you happen to be a Christian person, one of the most popular sayings that I ever hear amongst the Christian community is, what would Jesus do?
Good question.
What would he do? Like, would he, know when to put something aside, or would he know when to put someone in their place and be honest? So sometimes, this is interesting, but ever have a situation where maybe you're over assertive? So in other words, you're rude. Like, I know this goes to the other side for what Dorothy's talking about, but sometimes creating a contrast helps. So the person blows off steam, and quite often that happens when they've kind of been taking in things and they haven't been saying their truth. So what happens is it kind of works like a volcano. So like, it comes out and then boom. And you don't want that to happen. You want to maintain that relationship. But here's a really important thing. Firstly, is it a situation that's really important? You've got to ask yourself the question, how important is this going to be for my relationship with this person?
That's a great point.
Yeah. And what is it going to mean if I don't say anything? And when I do say something,
what are the consequences?
Yeah. And then asking yourself the question, what is, the worst thing that can happen? So if I say to that person, listen, I don't like the way that you're doing this, and this. And, generally by bringing it back into your own feelings, like, when you do that, it makes me feel this, and I'm feeling uncomfortable. I feel really uncomfortable when this situation is actually going on. And in terms of being able to assess it, what's the worst thing that can happen if you do say something? What is the best thing that can happen if you say something? And what's the most likely thing that's going to happen?
You can run through all the options there.
Yeah, so what's the most likely? Now, when it comes to being able to understand, see, again, the power of NLP here, and this is what we call persuasion language. So if you're really upset with someone and you want to be assertive and maybe you're angry with them, or you're really you've got to get it off your chest, right? You go into that objective, status of where you're zooming out. And you are looking at the scenario. So you're seeing it from your point of view, their point of view, and a complete stranger's point of view. So someone who's looking from the outside in, and, gaining understanding is very powerful. So let's just say someone's treated you really badly. They've done something and they've really annoyed you. You've got to understand, where are they coming from? Firstly, where are they coming from? Now, understanding and knowledge is power. So if you can step in to them and just do a little bit of a spiritual gig,
Right.
and go in and just go within and sort of turn your awareness instead of being between your ears, because they say heaven and hell is between your ears. That's what my mentor used to say.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you can create either between there, right?
I don't know. There's a monkey with some symbols in mind.
I
But there
know,
you go.
get the monkeys off the back, and not my circus, not my
No
monkeys. But the thing is that what you've got to do is you've got to be able to go a little bit back and imagine your awareness and your energy shifting back behind your eyes.
Okay.
So it's out of your ears. So that noise, you know how you get noises like, voices, not what you're
voices.
thinking, but the stories and
Yeah.
the chatter. So take yourself back, take a breath, and you'll find that just the perception of changing your energy and literally moving your awareness back to the back of your brain rather than being in the front lobal part between your ears.
Right.
And then ground yourself. So, concentrate on your inner core and imagine that the ground and the Mother Earth is really it's nurturing and it's holding and supporting your feet. So the soles of your feet. So you're very strong. And then imagine yourself being in the eyes of that wise person. What would they do?
Okay.
What would they say? How would they handle the situation? And then when you look at that person, especially if they've done something really erratic, especially this is, in really
you got me
tough
curious
relationships.
now. All right, let's do it.
So what you do, and if you know them well, even better.
Okay.
So, I've said this before sometime on the show. People are usually coming from 3 human needs. This is Anthony Robbins here.
Okay.
And it is either that they feel a lack of connection with you. So you've done something that has made them feel disconnected.
Okay.
So they're acting out. And then, but the way they're acting out may not be like, you don't make me feel special and like you even care and love me, or you're not connected with me. They may not say that.
Terry, do we need to talk? I mean, come on. Jeez.
But they're not going to say that. But the other thing is number 2, it's either that. Not everyone's coming from love and connection.
No way.
So my value is importance. So, importance and significance. Now, generally what happens is people lack something of where there was a tragedy in their childhood days. So somewhere along the line, maybe I didn't feel very important and I didn't feel very significant.
Okay.
So it becomes very important.
Right.
No pun intended.
No.
So then is that person coming from a place that we didn't make them feel important? Now that
everyone wants to feel important. If
Yeah.
you've got bad body language and you're not when someone shakes my hand and they give me a bad handshake, or they look away while they're shaking hands, or
a wet fish, like a wet fish.
I can't stand a wet fish.
Yeah, no.
Especially if it's a man. Don't care if it's just a sexist.
No.
If a man gives me a bad handshake, I instantly think less of him. That's the honest truth. Boom, done.
Influence.
And it's hard to rebuild that trust. Yeah.
Do you know hypnotic inductions are based a lot on handshakes?
Is that right?
Yeah, because what they do is they go to shake you with the left hand and they go the right and they go sleep. No, just joking. But it actually works.
Going for a bit there. It's fine.
No, but it's actually true.
Okay.
You have a look at it, the handshake, the induction hypnotic handshake. It is a thing, but you have to be a magician to be really good at it.
Right.
But just the third thing, I'm just going to get through this. So if that person's coming from a lack of importance, if that person's coming from a lack of love, or that person feels really insecure.
Okay.
So suddenly their certainty is rocked. So when you understand the reason that that person may be acting the way they are, you are better equipped to speak to that part.
Okay.
Because we are not our emotions. We are not our...
Sometimes we act like it's...
Yeah, but we are not even our habits, Aaron.
Yeah, okay.
But we are, as a result, and we can change our habits. We can change our emotions anytime.
Can we?
If you know how
Oh.
to do it, you can. But if you don't know how to do it, then obviously if nothing changes, then what happens? That's one of the questions I ask in my PowerPoint tonight on confidence, courage, and
Okay.
conviction. What will happen if nothing changes in your life right now?
Oh man, ain't that the truth? I'm just saying, the Trishy's put through a great comment. I'm struggling to see it though, but basically about the strength of a man's handshake or the style. Yeah, it means so much. It really does. It really, really does. I just want to throw a couple of things for. We are so running late, like mega late, but that's okay.
Oh my gosh,
it
we
weighs
are
around.
too.
I just want to say a couple of personal things to Dorothy, if I may, as far as being a Christian lady. Several things. Okay, I can tell you this straight out right. Okay, the media particularly are trying to stop you from expressing your Christianity. That's a fact. I can tell you right now from a job that I was doing 20 years ago. I can tell you about a job that I was doing 5 years ago where literally the management would just say, don't mention your religious beliefs in any way, shape, or form, in any way. All right. So even to the points where they're trying to, obviously diminish Christmas and the real meaning of Christmas. So as a Christian myself, who doesn't, I don't go out. I'm not big on it. I mean, I don't, go out and selling it everywhere, but I live it.
You do.
So from the point of view is, I'd rather say to you, look, Dorothy, don't be quiet about it. Okay. Share your Christianity with people. Don't let the people squash it. It's very, very important. So be assertive on that one. Really, really.
That's the conviction. I love that. That was actually spot on. Thank you so much, Aaron, because that's the operative word where let your conviction come through.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you said it in layman's terms.
It's just it's pretty much how I talk. Look, it is so damn important. It really is to be you and don't let other people sort of change you. And don't let this overriding narrative that's going through society at the moment that's coming from right up there, or not there actually, from down there when you really get down to it, which is controlling things.
Good point.
I'm going to fire to the last question, which we've got no time for, but we're going to make it work because good on Matt, because Matt is all the way from New Zealand, so he's one of our bros.
Yes.
Now, you guys answered a question on the show for me before. Thanks, mate. And I really got a lot out of it. I am hoping you can help me with maybe a strange question about dating. You're talking to the wrong fella on this one, but never mind. Okay. I'm very successful at dating. I am. Just a bit afterwards, I'm not so flashy. I do not have any problem talking to women online. Fantastic. But I find that I am very introverted when I'm dating, when I'm with them, making me appear boring. Any suggestions for me to become more interesting?
Can I just say something? Matt, how do you know you're boring?
It's an interesting thought.
Some women find introverted men mysterious and maybe even sexy.
Stoic.
Yes,
stoic. I like that term too.
So, how do you know? Because you're not a mind reader. I'm going to actually answer this with something that I told my daughter when she was a teenager. Okay. She said, Mum, I don't really like going to parties because I walk into a party and I feel like everybody's, going to look at me. And I mean, again, it's always sort of about the self.
I'm sorry, I'm smiling because you were basically just giving me the lyrics to "You're So Vain." Just then, you probably think the song is about you, right?
To the party. That's right. And he's wearing the hat.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. It was not really vanity for her because my daughter, unlike her mother, she doesn't have a vein bone in her body. But, she was more kind of self-conscious.
Okay.
So it was more about, which I feel like maybe that's where you're coming from, Matt. So if you're feeling kind of like, and then if you're telling yourself this story, it's not about the energy of you being introverted. It's more about the energy of what you're telling yourself. So here's what I said to my daughter, and maybe you can take something from this. What if that other person, there was somebody else in that party who was feeling exactly the same way, and whatever you want to feel, make that other person feel it. Go up and make them feel. So it suddenly becomes about them.
Yeah.
You actually give them the kind of, that feeling of, oh my gosh, you're important.
I'm so
right.
important. It is so important. People want to feel good about themselves, right? And if you can walk in there and instantly give them the energy that they feel good about, like a compliment, just boom, straight off the bat, go in with a compliment. Go with the chest out and feel, feel confident. really that simple.
Yeah, and ask questions.
Oh,
So, did
definitely.
you know?
Girls love
do-
talking
do
about
you-
themselves. As many
Yeah,
questions as possible.
yeah. So, did you know, especially with the
Guys, too.
NLP questions, not an interview, but when they're talking to you, being very interested in them and learning how to kind of take some of the nuances and the words and actually feed it back to them. Number one, it makes them feel heard,
Mhm.
and then they feel important, and they think, oh my gosh, she's so psychic or a mind reader. They forget they actually said what they just said.
Great.
And then you're asking them about what they're talking about. So you're not throwing questions left field at them. You're asking them questions relevant to what they're talking about. They
Okay.
think you're the most interesting person in the place, and yet you didn't say a thing about yourself or anything else.
Love that. I love that because people do love talking about themselves. Let's be honest. So that is a really positive way of also mirroring their gestures, and that sort of thing is also a good thing. But yeah, look, honestly, like all we said about the song "You're So Vain," don't be vain, but at the same time, walk in like you own the place. Honestly, particularly women love confidence, and it's such an important thing to portray. So if you walk in, you're sort of looking at your shoes, you're not going to win that girl, that's for sure. I am going to end the show there, which it's a shame. I'll tell you what, there's so much good stuff going on, but we are so out of time. It's not funny. Thank you very much for being part of the Genius Zone here on Edge Radio Australia. Thank you, Terry, for being our local genius and sharing that with Edge Radio Australia.